Hey there, Melissa with Atlas CFO, and today we are talking about why contractors lose bonding capacity and the metrics that you can follow along with so it doesn't happen to you. What we're talking about is the ability to grow. Many of our contractors actually have to have bonding relationships in order to get the next project. If that's you, this is a great video for you. What that means for you is if you have that big project, the one you're like, oh, this one's going to be really good for us, but you realize you don't have the bonding capacity and they're not going to approve it, it can really slow down your growth. The bonding company wants to know that you're strong enough to handle more work, you're strong enough to grow, and they use a series of metrics to determine that. Just remember, even small issues can cause a red flag for them that makes it so that it's harder for them to say yes, and they pay even more attention to some of these ratios. Today we're going to talk about three of them, and we're going to talk about working capital. Oh, we love to talk about working capital, equity, and then the cost to complete, also known as cost run out. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay, working capital. Let's start there. Working capital is current assets minus current liabilities. This comes straight off of your balance sheet. I've said before, you're judged more on your balance sheet than you are on your income statement. That's always kind of shocking. Like, I thought we were judged on net income. Yeah, kind of indirectly. But you have to have a strong balance sheet in order to really get the working capital, get the cash flow strength, the equity strength. So this balance sheet is a key component of this. You want your balance sheet to be accurate. You want it to be classified, which means that you have current assets and current liabilities, and you really need it to be right. Yes. Even things like having a large underbilling amount. So whenever you have a large underbillings, otherwise known as cost in excess of billings, it's jobs that haven't been billed yet. If you have a large amount of those, that even can make them a little uncomfortable because why haven't you billed your jobs? And not only that, that hurts cash flow. So if you are in an underbilled position, even if you have working capital, having that underbilled billings in that current asset can weaken the balance sheet strength. So we want to make sure that we have really good working capital. Just a final note here, you want to go through your balance sheet and make sure everything is classified correctly. If you're looking through your balance sheet and you see things that you don't understand, you don't know why they are where they are, you want to make sure they're in the right location. If you have an outside CPA review accountant, you can even visit with them about it. Number two, which could even be number one, but number two is retained earnings or equity that is going down or even negative. Heaven forbid. We don't want negative equity. We need positive equity and we need it to be going up. So what we do for this is one, make money. Oh, that's easier said than done sometimes. And two, we need to retain the money in our company, which means we don't want to distribute it out. If we get it in, we've got to hold enough of it to have the equity grow with us. I once had a bonding manager tell me that you need to treat your net income and your equity as though you're paying an employee. So you want that equity to grow like you're paying an employee, like you're growing that piece of equity. So you pay your company just like you pay an employee. In our equity position, if you find yourself in a negative equity position, it's kind of hard. It usually you either have to put more money in or you have to make more money and grow your way out of it. But in this, you really want to watch that distribution. You need to make sure that you're not taking it out at the wrong time, and you need to make sure that you're not taking out so much that it actually causes a declining equity balance. And the last one we're going to cover today is a high cost to complete. This is a double-edged sword. So what this means is that you've taken on so much work and you're growing. This is great, right? You're growing, you've got more work, things are happening. But what it's causing is that you've got so much work ahead of you that it causes some uncomfortable feelings that maybe they can't do all of this work. They can't get it all done. And that becomes a risk to our bonding managers and our sureties. So if they think that you've got too much work or the work is too risky, or maybe we're not sure you have enough cash flow to manage this, this just is something that they'll kind of hit the pause button and say, hey, let's work through some of this work we already have on our schedule, and then we'll be able to add more work at a later date. What can even make this worse is if you aren't doing good WIP reporting and providing a WIP to your surety, at least on a quarterly basis. If you've got a big bunch of work, it's out in the future, and you're not providing that regular WIP, this can this can derail your bonding relationship. And so you want to make sure this is something that you're paying attention to. This was something that was actually so important to us because we were growing. As contractors, we tripled the size of our business. And when you triple the size of your business, if any of you are watching that have done this, you understand cash flow is tough. You have a big backlog and you're trying to get your surety to come along with you. So we ended up doing a lot of work in projections so that we could show our surety, hey, not only do we have working capital today, but we have it in the future. And yes, we do have a lot of backlog, but here's how it all works out. So we spend a lot of time doing projections, forward-looking financial statements to really get us to where these items, although they are important, we could talk and have an answer for all three of these. The biggest way to prevent a bonding capacity loss is pay attention. Keep your financial statements up to date. Keep your WIP up to date. Make sure that you're understanding what is happening and what your backlog position is. You also need to be monitoring your monthly KPIs or your quarterly KPIs, whichever cycle you run on. You want to know, what does my working capital look like? Even better, what does your working capital look like to other companies? How do you rate comparison to other companies in your industry group? And if you've got some big jobs, if there's a way for you to project into the future what that job is going to look like in your company before you sign the contract, before you bid the job, this is huge. And it's the same thing that we did. Before we bid a job, we would plug it into our projection model and say, hey, is this job going to do what we want it to do? And before we would send out the bid, we made sure that it was the right job for us. It fit our cash flow model. It fit our gaps in our work future. Like, oh, we need a job in September. This job is perfect. We're all full up in the summer. I don't think we can put any more in the summer. So we used all of those different pieces in projections to make sure that when we were picking a job, we picked the right job. That made the bonding conversation so much easier because we already knew. We knew the job fit. We knew we could cash flow it. We knew it was going to be within our capacity. So projections and looking at your backlog and through time makes a huge difference in having a great relationship. If you didn't know, we built a projection model because, well, we wanted one. It was for us. We built a projection model because we wanted to be able to plug in all of these scenarios and make sure that we were picking the right jobs for our company, that we could cash flow the jobs, and that we could have meaningful conversations with our bonding company to make sure that we were on alignment. Hey, we think this is a great job and let me show you why. If you are interested in looking at the model, there's a demo on our website. It's been fantastic. We are so happy that we used it as contractors, and we're happy using it now today with our clients. If you'd like to learn more about all things construction accounting, sign up for our 7-day boot camp. It's on our website. And if you'd like to see the Atlas Growth Model in action, head on over to our webpage for the Atlas Growth Model. You can see some demos, and we'll have the links in the description. Thanks for spending time with me today. I always enjoy it, and we'll see you soon.